Map number 3.
We are Eastern Plane Path coming straight down. Very easy for most teams here. Provides pretty much an even distribution of players around the map, and nothing's too difficult. But we'll see how cruel the circle does become. But like the boys were saying on the desk, we did have some very much low-cal cream cheese in the sense we're going over to those urban finishes. We weren't having, you know, the spread of the snow, and that's what I like to see. I like to see those really rough endings where you're out in the cold, you're with the rocks, you're with the trees, you're trying to find a little bit of cover, a little bit of an angle you can take, maybe a flank. That's what excites me the most. The urban finishes, I prefer to see them on Miramar, actually.
It creates a lot of chaos, Blank, and a lot of teams can thrive in that. Speaking of chaos, we got a pretty chaotic circle.
Captain
here,
Chaos.
Over Chaos. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Get your tinfoil hat on.
That's what I like to see, like you say, John. Straight up to the port side and get your boats out, because, you know, you might want to have to get out into the water. We've seen players before who've head out into the sea and then just swam around there for a little bit. And, you know, if you're actually looking at this, you could get all the way to the other side, and then what I'm going to call Antarctica, you can go up to there and maybe hold out on the ice.
Sure.
And hopefully survive for a little bit longer on the glaciers. Yeah, I agree.
Fair enough. We'll see if they're able to survive this one. Unfortunately, not.
Polar bear. Oh no.
Mad Toy, obviously one of the key players for Team Secret, moving in relatively recently to the squad, and he's had a pretty positive impact.
Yeah, that he has. Very positive impact indeed. Yeah, we're the circle is pretty gross, to say the least. And I said it was an even plane path and it would be evenly distributed. And you know, as is all things with me in talking about circles, the circle does exactly the opposite of what I say it should. So no one's currently in Krishas, Dobromesto or Port right now. So everyone will be coming into this area, which means that great migration of players. Once again, I talk about a lot of people will be running parallel to one another. And with the grounds being so flat over the majority of Vikendi, minus Mount Kresnik, okay, minus that. Yep. With the ground being so flat, you're running along. We've played games before on Vikendi where it's a case of you see about 3 other teams also running with you. It's almost like you're in a marathon, except everyone's got M4s and AKMs, and it's terrifying. You don't want to be in this marathon at all.
It's really not something you can. It's not the sort of thing that you're training for. You know, you get up in the morning, you do your 10Ks.
Someone hands you an assault rifle.
Someone has you an assault rifle. Like, hang on a minute, it's PUBG Mobile. I've got to start fragging out.
I didn't sign up for this, but these players did. So we expect them to perform on this field. Right now, most people are just running around looking for things. I think we commented on Kashuf's outfit the other day. I love it so much. You know, this is actually something that I want to do. I want to take a closer look at all these players' outfits. That'd be cool. I would like to rate them. You know, have a little bit of a fashion show of PUBG Mobile in itself. But Pmwl is looking to put the buttons on Reject Scarlet here, close them up, send them back to the lobby.
Urali able to send away and actually turns almost all the way around. Frenzy, however, is on the other side. Morph might be ready and waiting to receive this rotation. Coming forward, has got the micro Uzi. Doesn't opt to pop out. He's waiting for the pull-up. He knows that he's coming in. Oh, he's popped out of the car. He might have just missed the opportunity there, Blank.
Oh, but a little bit of acrobatics gets him into the house. And now, a game of cat and mouse. Urali, I believe, does know this player's in here.
He will do now, and he managed to get the heal off as well. This is much better of a situation than he probably deserved, quite frankly, in this spot. He's going to lob the nades in, trying to pressure out Frenzy, who's managed to make his way outside. No one from Morph is very close to him at all, so definitely locked in this 1v1, Blank.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused here why Frenzy would give up the high ground and move down. Nade comes across the other side, but you're at least quite safe and comfortable in the other building. But the rest of Morph will be coming in fairly shortly. I wonder how the rest of Reject Scarlet currently are. I was talking with Froz about this, and they tend to over-rotate a little bit too much, then get caught out, lose one player, and it becomes difficult to get into the game. But here, there's not really much rotating for them to do. They can get into the circle easily. So for me, this is a game for Reject Scarlet to prove themselves. I think they are quite towards the bottom of the table at the moment. But there is a chance. Like the boys on desk were saying, this is a very top-heavy lobby in terms of points. So there's a lot of movement that can happen between that 16th to 20th place. And you know what? One team that definitely wants to move up and secure the position is TSM Entity. They're currently in 15th, which is a scary spot to be in.
Morph are very, very split at the moment. The most they have is 2 in one place. Actually, no, take that back. They've only got Morph here with Frenzy and one across the way. So let's see if they can hold it down. It's just so split for Morph, and I'm really unsure as to why they've opted to go for this.
Yeah, and in all that time, Frenzy's been left on his own, and the entirety of Reject Scarlet have been able to drop up. So Frenzy, playing on his little lonesome, this is a sad time for him.
It's going to get spotted out from the outside. That's going to be an easy kill. They lose a player, Morph down to 3 very early on, and Reject Scarlet pull it all together. They're going to be having themselves a little bit of ground over on the eastern side of the estuary.
Yeah, I think that what happened there was Yurli got on the radio, was like, I need reinforcement stat. Frenzy said the exact same thing about half an hour earlier. And they're like, well, we've stopped for some hot dogs. We'll be there about 2 hours, okay? Just chill for the time being.
Just chill. It's fine, you're fine. Don't worry about it.
You're fine.
It's fine.
Oh, he's dead.
Oh, maybe we shouldn't have got. Maybe we shouldn't have got the second set of hot dogs.
We're going to take a look at Synergy. They're currently towards the bottom of the leaderboard as well. By no means are a bad team. We saw them doing quite well in the opening weekend for seeding. Here in the first week of league play, they've had a little bit of rough time of it. I would like to see some more out of them. We saw Strider put on some fantastic performances. We know Sirvi can definitely stand up with the rest of them. But we'll check back with them later. They seem to be a team that does quite well at slowly making their way into the circle. Right now, they're very much central, so they will have to fight off against a lot of the other teams. They don't have that advantage of being able to play edge here because they've been forced into this position.
And the thing is, one good game can really turn the tide of the bottom of these tables. Blank. We were talking about on the desk how it is a top-heavy situation at the moment in terms of those point distributions. But when you look back at 20-team tournaments and leagues, average 16th place around 5.5 to 6 points per game, which comes up to somewhere around the 50 to 58 point mark in terms of total points over 8 games, which means that the difference between these teams is going to be as little as 10 points, right? And that can come to you in a single game. Like you overstep easily. It can just happen for you. So and we know that a lot of these teams have got that sort of strength where they can bring out that sort of performance.
And I mean, mainly for a lot of these teams towards the bottom, like you said, it's just about not going out towards that 11th to 16th spot. You need to live, and if that means playing much more cautiously, if you're a team like TSM Entity, who from the opening weekend at least, we saw them to be doing a lot of fighting all the time, maybe taking a little bit too many grudge matches with everyone else in the lobby, in which case everyone kind of got together, the council met, and they were like, look, let's take down TSM Entity. They're being a bit of a bothersome for us all at the moment. So I think if TSM Entity can kind of rein that back in, they have insane fragging power of that team, and I think taking 1v1 fights, as they've shown us like glimpses here and there where they are still alive in the lobby, they're pretty fantastic at it. So what bows to me right now, with them being on the eastern side towards Cosmodrome, waiting on the edge of the circle, that is good news for me. I feel like maybe they've had a reshift in perspective. Potentially this is the game where they bring it forward.
Hopefully. I mean, it's a team that we've been following for quite a while. Blank, obviously, we were working in the South Asian regions previously last year during the PMCO. We've seen these people, these players, this organization come through and really be a massive presence within the scene. And we know that they can do better, but it just feels like they've gotten not quite off to the best of starts. And we're hoping, and I think a lot of the fans at home are hoping as well, that they can bring it back just a little bit.
Orange Rock on our screen, however, another team that's doing really fantastically well. 84 points, tying with No Chance team here. That's an immediate knock onto Malik, instant pickup on the kill point 2. So Orange Rock will be happy with this one. It also provides a very strong point for them to set up fortifications going forward.
T1 taking one hell of a fight with Team IND, doing plenty of damage there. Synergy as well onto Freestyle. Looks like a lot of the South Asian teams currently locked in combat, Blank.
Yeah, with Freestyle. So Freestyle's having a bit of a rough time of it right now. Molly's come outside. It's getting a little bit hot out here for the one player. Now he's surrounded. A ring of fire and a nade in the middle. You love to see it.
Orange Rock learnt about nades in the previous game, and they figured it out. It's like, oh yeah, those are pretty good. Let's use those.
Cool. Let's go for that. Yeah,
they're going to be able to get a point for it. 2 kills now found early into the lobby.
Freestyle not feeling too good about themselves. it's not the best of starts, but especially on Vikendi. I think Vikendi is one of the maps where, you know, it's quite important to make sure you have 4 players towards the end, because there will come a point where there is significant amount of actual angles you need to hold, and that is not a very nice circle. Still about 50% in the water, and we're already crunching all these players together. You can see on your screen it is just like a mass of players all squeezed together. You know, you could probably get away with just waltzing into someone else's compound and pretending you're one of their teammates, and no one would bat an eye.
Valdez the Murder in the same compound as Morph at the moment. 2 of the players have managed to get together, and they've coalesced just a little bit. But Valdez the Murder, they had such a strong position at the end of it. It was criminal, really, that they weren't able to get it. And Orange Rock are going to try and play spoiler to them again. Scout with a long-range shot, going to pop a bullet to the skull. And it looks like Guilt wants more spray downs. Goodness me. Orange Rock on the long-range kills.
Yeah, Orange Rock are really bring it to everyone else in the lobby. They're kind of taking the TSM entity approach, but making it work in this instance. Scout with an insane shot on that K9. That was
it was nuts.
That was nutty, because that was I think that was through 2 separate doorways as well. So he kind of like bent the bullet mid-air.
It's a goat shot.
It's a goat shot right there. The biggest.
The hugest. King of Gamers, close up and personal with break from Box. And they are going to try and dismount him, it looks like. Nade's being sent up into the attic. They know he's gone upstairs. The question is, at what point do they go for this fight? Because they know that Box can rotate in and try to go for the assistance here, but a lot of damage found, and yep, their break is going to go down. Nice nade through the window. I don't think Box are going to want to try and reclaim this one.
Yeah, I think this position, though, is really strong if King of Gamers can hold on to it, purely because the backside is to the coastal, it's to the water, so they have now this like 180-degree swing going forward that they just look out from. BTR, on the other hand, they seem like a really aggressive team, but to be honest with you, for the first 10 or 11 minutes of the match, they spend the entirety of the time rotating in, playing edge side, and then they just start to rip away all the compounds from everybody else. And I think a lot of that comes from the fact that they're very confident in what they have on board. Specifically resource-wise, so they have a lot of meds, they've got the good armor because they spent so much time looting, they've got enough ammo to work forward with. So it's all in all a very good recipe for their success.
Well, I mean, to be honest, the recipes turned out pretty well. I think, you know, if they were to put out a book, plenty of people would buy it. They would absolutely be getting those recipes on board. Straight in the oven with that one. But they are notoriously out of these sort of early engagements, right? And that's what you talked about in Vikendi. Yeah. Is that later on, you want 4 players alive. Best way to do that, don't take any fights earlier in the game. Yeah,
well, I've noticed this trend with BTR is that everyone else moves into the circle quite early on, and they just comfortably stay outside. So I think that is, 1, very good knowledge of other teams' rotations, 2, very good patience, and then also the knowledge that they know that we can actually take the fights in the compounds and quite feasibly win those fights too. So you love to see it, and it's very good. TSM, I think, are taking a similar approach. You can see that in the picture-in-picture on your top right there. They're still very much on the eastern side, just probing forward a little bit, trying to poke and see where it's a little bit weak from these teams. And I like it, but right now, this is very typical Vikendi. Everyone has a compound of their own. They're waiting to move forward. And the interesting caveat about this type of terrain is that from the coast going up to the south east here, it's kind of just an uphill battle for everyone else. So you can have, so the interesting thing here is that you can have the coastal side, not have to worry about your back, but you are fighting uphill to everyone else.
That is interesting.
Yeah, sorry, I just kind of got on a tangent. I was like, wow, I love PUBG Mobile. I love the way the terrain works. And then I just kept going.
It's very interesting, though. I mean, you know...
What else is interesting?
There's plenty of teams pretty close by and going to be trying to use that terrain blank here in this close, condensed set of players. And this is what Vikendi is known for, right? Yeah. Having these teams in such close proximity.
So Morph is actually taking even more fights with King of Gamers. King of Gamers apparently not done with them as of yet. And I think if they can clear the rest of them, they'll be feeling pretty decent on this coastal side, quite comfortable in their position. But Box, they have I think they just have the 1 player left in Loki, if I am correct. And also Megastar's taking some extra damage from Cog now, Awais and Ankar down. So Vexy, as well as Paradox, the last 2 players remaining. And they're about to come into close contact with BTR, who is moving down up from the south side.
trying to crest the ridge, TSM Entity. And we talked about them earlier, the team that we really want to see come back to their previous form, because they have had a little bit of a shoddy start, if we're honest. They are currently sat at 15th place in the leaderboard, so as it stands, they will be able to qualify, but they're really on that knife's edge blanket, and they need to put up a solid game, just get, you know, preferably a chicken dinner, obviously, but, you know, you get a 15-point game, you're already sitting a little bit more clear.
Yeah, and I think it's fair for us to expect more from them as well, especially with the massive amount of pedigree from a lot of these teams. Obviously, Jonathan being a long-standing player on Entity,
Absolutely.
Clutch God coming from Seoul, Z God obviously from Zero Degree, just massive plays whilst he was on that team, and now all forming back together just to create this wonderful team. Not to mention Neo, I'm not ignoring you, dude. You are also insanely good. I know of all the times you were the last player alive in that South Asia fall split.
Yeah, certainly had a solid impact onto the roster, but as you say, it is right for us to be able to expect more from them, and I'm sure that we're going to be able to see it. I'm sure they're going to be able to do their fans proud. Orange Rock, they're certainly doing their fans proud. They have had one hell of a game, and they're going to keep on moving forwards, aggressive. They like to just move straight through everybody else, but Sirvi spots Viru out on the back.
So Viru goes down here, and you wonder if they do have the actual support, because where Viru's playing from, it was a little bit far out, but Marvi does come in almost immediately. The leader come in to provide support for his teammate, which is nice to see.
It's very important to keep your troops happy.
It is, yeah. Keep the morale up and you will do wonders. That's something that people need to keep in mind, is morale is actually really important, especially during the East League when the pressure is on.
Absolutely, and you have to remember, I mean, we spoke about it earlier, it is a marathon, not a sprint. And you need to be able to keep that mental game strong, to be able to keep that mindset powerful, and that's what you see teams like Bigatron able to do. They just keep, even when they suffer a bad loss, they can come back into it. You know, maybe it takes them a game to recover, but as soon as they're back, then you're like, okay, yeah, okay, fair enough. They're back in, they're ready and in the zone.
And as you'll see on the opening weekend when we do, well, on the Super Weekend when we do release that Between the Battlegrounds episode, you get to see a little bit more of an insight into behind the scenes for these players. And there is a lot going on, and it is tough to be a team in this current environment where there are so many other teams biting at heels to be at the top. So yeah, we've got to be proud of every team in this lobby. Freestyle going out in 16th, however, so that will be their run here on Vikendi now done.
Currently Saturn 12th on the tables, 37 points for them, with 2 more games left to play, this being one of them. So they have now taken the dip there. We'll see if they can get a few more points on in the next game. Still, we've got teams like No Chance Team still in the lobby, a team that really surprised a lot of us yesterday, Blank, and today. Yeah. They've been having some pretty decent showings. They've been able to pull it out the bag when it matters. You know, once or twice they go down a little bit earlier than maybe they like to, but it's never in a situation where you just sort of think, yeah, they definitely should have won that.
No, but hear me out for a second here, because yesterday I think No Chance Team were significantly consistent, right? The 2 second places, and then I don't think they dipped underneath 8th after that, and they got some good amount of kills as well. Now, they never were like super high on my radar. They definitely weren't bleeping a load, as TSM actually taken flight onto Team Secret. But I think today, there's a lot more confidence coming out from them, and they're taking much more fights than we didn't see them take yesterday. So honestly, I think No Chance Team was a little concerned yesterday, playing cautious, but now they're like, you know, I can do this.
TSM Entity, they are riding strong. 2 kills already found towards Team Secret. Sorry, not kills, knocks. As Rex is down, Mad Toy did get rezzed up. Jonathan now up close and personal onto one of the knocks on Team Secret. Eyeshot's waiting in the wings with the G36. Looking for the shots, but gives away his location. Repositions now as Team Secret, with 3 players strong, get a couple of heals through. Jonathan converts the kill, but Neo is down.
Yeah, right in the back as well, so it's going to be difficult to pick him up, so it will really stall this whole fight. That's a Molotov over the top sign, will clear the roof of this building, so Mad Toy just looking out towards these players. Doesn't actually have a helmet, so will take significant headshot damage, and we know that all these players are efficient at hitting those, especially Jonathan from this team.
They dropped the smoke out, and it looks like they do want to go and get Neo back up. You talked about how it's important to keep 4 players up in Vikendi, and TSM Entity seem to have taken that lesson to heart, Blank.
And now, this is a fight here where I'd imagine the TSM Entity of the opening weekend would continue this. They would continue to fight this ground, but honestly, I think there is still opportunity here to find somewhere else, maybe try and find a little bit of a different terrain. That the fight has already taken so long, perhaps even rotate down to the south side, but I think they are committing now to this fight.
Certainly staying within that proximity. They did get the res, so they are now 4 players strong. They'll be able to get that healing done. The question is, do they disengage this fight? Because they're right on the edge of the zone and they are going to have to push through.
I think that as the blue gets closer and closer, they've invested in picking up Neo. We've got Reject Scarlet on our screen. This is what we're talking about. They could just rotate in, but now they're going against one of the most fearsome squads within the lobby.
However, No Chance team, the team that they are fighting currently, they're down to 1. They're looking for a res.
Beautiful molly.
That's a huge Molotov. It's maybe not going to stop the res here, but it's going to isolate their positions, and it's going to allow Reject Scarlet to push up a little bit closer. Oftels needs to try and hold it down. Hits the top shots. A 1 player falls. Heineken there to back him up beautifully, but they respond in kind, and now it's just Heineken on a sliver of HP. Sarah mounting up, trying to push close. They know he's out in the blue, does get the heal off, so he has got a little bit more HP to work with. They're getting pushed by the blue as well.
Scarlet can just leave, though, and just gatekeep Heineken later on. They don't need to stay out in the blue for this one. The question is, will Loki try and third-party this? Orange Rock, though, get a beautiful circle for themselves. They still have this large compound, and now they're calling probably for Viru, Marvi to group up with Gil and Scout so they can hold down this large compound themselves.
Oh, Zedgod nearly getting flushed out there. iShots wants to push close and maybe get this flush. Yuhai as well, covering those angles. The flush does come through. Neo is downed as well. Clutch God has the nade. It's cooking out. He wants to wait for them to push a little bit closer. Another flush comes through, and Team Secret turning this one around on TSM Entity. Out he comes. Clutch God able to get the spray around the side as well. Team Secret trying to shut him down, and they will be able to get the knockdown. 1 player, it's Jonathan versus Mad Toy as he spins out wide, and Jonathan gets it done. TSM Entity still in.
You know what? That whole play there was enabled by Zedgod there. He was so low, but he was like, I have to make a play now. I have to at least get 1 member down. That just gave so much time for Jonathan to come in and make magic happen. Really well played at TSM Entity.
Unfortunately, their countrymen not so lucky. Synergy currently getting peppered away. Orange Rock as well, taking knocks from T1. And it seems like everyone's out to get South Asia in this round.
I know. Valdus, though, they're on the eastern side. They will be able to move their way in. But like you say, Synergy under heavy fire from T1. T1 towards the bottom of the standing. So if they can get a good game here, like we said before, it's not a lot of points you need to kind of leapfrog yourself forward into that top 16 and make it into the Super Weekend. Remember, this is the last day of league play this week to make your way into that top 16.
Definitely important getting towards those super weekends. That's where you get to the finals, right? That's where the big money lies. I mean, there's plenty of money up for grabs in the regular league play, but it's that big 100K that everyone's chasing.
A big one. It's the big dollar, right? Now, BTR, though, surprisingly, we've not said too much about them, but they've come from Winery, and now they're all the way on the northeastern side within the circle. So I don't know how that's happened. Houdini plays coming out from them.
Absolutely. They just teleport all over the place, and sometimes they just happen to end up behind you, and that's just sometimes what happens, you know? It's not going to go your way. No Chance team eliminated here, Blank.
Yes, this is what I was talking about in the sense that Reject Scarlet could just move forward, ignore the fact that there was a player behind. He had to heal, but Orange Rock now taking a fight onto King of Gamers. Orange Rock currently surrounded by many teams. You can see T1 Youngjin just towards the small ditch in the valley there, just hiding out. But Synergy also here.
Team IND eliminated on the northwestern side. King of Gamers and Box very, very close by. King of Gamers trying to send on in RRQ, taking fights with Synergy. So are King of Gamers. It's definitely an anti-South Asian lobby right now.
Yeah,
like they are just taking them on time and time again. Hopefully they'll be able to try and save some of those representatives through. Orange Rock are still 4 players strong. You still have TSM Entity in the fight as well.
Oh my god, this is such an insanely good circle for Orange Rock. Now, before I was thinking about how is Orange Rock going to be able to hold down this large compound to themselves, but now it's actually been cut in half, so there's even smaller amount of this compound to hold going forward, which is why you can see Orange Rock, Viru and Marvi now flying their way up this compound. They know they have to come together because it's such a good spot, but they have to hold it as 4.
Stay together, get the 4 all in the same spot and isolate those angles, control them. RRQ eliminated. 7 teams remain blank. Orange Rock, as you said, dominant in this southwestern side of the next circle. Bigatron on the eastern side have a lot of control there as well.
Yeah, Klutchko just picking up a vehicle now on the southwest side. He knows that they'll probably need that cover later on as they will be crossing across pretty open ground. His scout, though, taking shots over towards Zuxi as well as Microboy, but he's been shot in the back and now he has to move out. Potentially here, BTR come back onto him.
Valdez, the murder, will be able to flush out Microboy. Zuxi trying to hold it down close. Luxy is twin. It's going to back him up. Martin takes a knee. Goddard now up close and personal with the rocks for cover, but the nades are going to start to fly. And if there's one thing we know about Bigatron Blank is that those nades always find their mark. Flush comes out towards Martin, and Goddard now under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, Goddard got a lot done with those nades early on, but now he's tasting some of his own medicine from BTR. Valdez has taken a fight with BTR, and BTR aren't done.
Certainly not. They're never done. They keep on going, keep on trucking. Only Valdez, the murder, really is anywhere near them in this next circle. He's outside in the blue.
I don't know what's got into Orange Rock and Vikendi matches, but they're performing them so extremely well. Sure, they had a little bit of a circle look, but every single move has felt very calm, very calculated, and they've effectively cleared the south side by themselves. Klutchgod goes down outside in the blue. There's Zuxi finishing that member of Goddard from Valdez the murder, so they will now go out in 5th. Not a bad position to go out in, but not where they wanted to finish.
In 6th, actually, it was TSM Entity who went down in 5th, just after they had 6 kills to their name. A decent showing. That's what I said I wanted to see from them. But now it's Bigatron and Orange Rock starting to clash in. T1 with a representative all the way out inside the blue. Box Gaming to the north side get wiped out, and there's 3 teams now remain.
We've got Red v Orange here with just 2 teams remaining, John. But Orange Rock, they've got full on the circle, and BTR, they've had a rough time of it. Just 2 players remaining, but look who it is. It's Zuxi and Luxy. And you know what BTR do? They make the unbelievable believable. So we'll see what they can do here in this situation. Sure, Orange Rock, they've got all the zone for themselves, and they're about to clean sweep down the mountainside.
However, if there's one team that you believe can make sure that Bigatron have a real tough time of it, it's Orange Rock Blank. They get the next circle completely in their favor, and Bigatron have to move up the hill. This is all on Orange Rock to lose. If they lose this, it would be a disaster for them.
BTR, though, so low on supplies. They had to fight their way into the circle. Orange Rock, on the other hand, were just plinking away at teams, making sure they were weak by the time they reached them. But to be fair, Marvi and Viru, they haven't had to do too much, so they'll hold on to resources in terms of grenades, healing, armor.
Oh, Scout up close on the rock with the Car 98. Zuxi takes a lot of damage. He swings out wide and makes it to the next piece of cover. Luxy anchoring from the back, but Zuxi has fallen, and now it's just Luxy, a sliver of HP, outside in the blue zone, gets the first aid off, but it's only going to last you so long when you're in the sights of Scouts. And it's Orange Rock to claim yet another chicken dinner on Vikendi.
Honestly, Orange Rock are ridiculously good on Vikendi. It's insane. That's the